On a construction site, one man pushes a scaffold while another rides precariously on top. The wheels snag the concrete edge. The tower wobbles for a terrifying second, then catastrophically collapses, sending the rider plummeting with the shattering metal frame. A stark reminder: never, ever move a scaffold while someone is on it. At a scrapyard, an operator climbs inside a metal press to inspect a load. Suddenly, the machine roars to life. A massive hydraulic ram begins its cycle, advancing with unstoppable force and compressing him with the unforgiving metal. A horrific moment. Always de-energize and lock out all machinery before entry. Your life absolutely depends on it. On a hillside construction site, a worker directs the concrete pour. In an instant, the colossal pump arm suffers a catastrophic failure, snapping from its base. It swings down with immense force, slamming into the trench and pinning a man beneath its crushing weight. Always enforce exclusion zones and perform rigorous equipment inspections. Your life may depend on it. At this industrial dump site, a worker stands just feet from the bay. As the massive container is still lowering, the driver inexplicably pulls forward. The entire rig lurches, the raised metal arm nearly striking the bay's overhang. A heart-stopping error. Always confirm equipment is secure and stowed before moving an inch. In this industrial workshop, a worker moves across the floor, completely unaware of the pressure building behind him. In a terrifying instant, the furnace erupts in a catastrophic blast. A massive fireball and concussive wave consumed the entire room, leaving nothing but chaos. Know your equipment's limits and your escape routes. Your awareness is your best defense in a hazardous environment. On this quiet curve, a driver's routine trip becomes a nightmare. In a fiery blast, an unseen impact hurls their car skyward. The vehicle tumbles violently end over end, a metal shell against the sky, before crashing back down. A terrifying reminder to always stay alert and manage your speed, especially on bends. On a high-rise construction site, a worker stands on a massive concrete slab. Without warning, a support fails. The slab pivots like a violent seesaw, catapulting him and a coworker over the edge and into the void. A terrifying reminder that you must always verify the stability of any platform. Never assume something is secure. At this construction site, a worker moves around a massive sand pile. Suddenly, they slip and plunge headfirst. The shifting material engulfs their upper body in an instant. Legs kick desperately for a few seconds, then go completely still. A terrifying outcome. Always maintain a safe distance from unstable stockpiles. They can collapse without warning. A factory floor. A worker leans in to inspect a powerful industrial roller. In a horrifying instant, his arm is caught. The machine violently pulls his entire body onto the spinning cylinder, entangling him with the shredding fabric in a terrifying rotation. One moment of proximity can lead to a catastrophic outcome. Always de-energize machinery before any hands-on interaction. A routine ride through a tunnel becomes a terrifying ordeal. Suddenly, the transport system catastrophically fails, accelerating to an uncontrollable speed. Workers are thrown from their seats and dragged helplessly, tumbling across the rough ground and sharp steel tracks. Meticulous equipment inspections can prevent such catastrophic events. He kneels on the massive cylinder, unaware of the danger. Without warning, it lurches into motion as a high-pressure blast erupts from the machine, hurling his body through the dust-filled air. A terrifying reminder. Never work on energized equipment. Isolate and lock out every single power source before you begin. Inside this Coachella factory, a worker's patience evaporates. After inspecting the complex machine, his frustration boils over into a startling burst of rage. He violently rips a heavy safety panel from its housing, exposing the inner workings. An uncontrolled outburst like this is a critical hazard. When angry, always walk away from the machine. At a massive construction site, a worker crosses an elevated concrete structure. Suddenly, the ground beneath him disintegrates. The entire platform gives way in a catastrophic failure, sending him plummeting with tons of rebar and scaffolding into a blinding cloud of dust. A horrifying reminder to always be aware of your surroundings and trust that nothing is truly secure. In a dirt lot, a man uses brute force to unload a massive coil. He gives it one final, desperate shove. As the metal tips, he loses his footing and falls with it. The multi-ton beast crashes down, instantly pinning him beneath its crushing weight. A horrific lesson. Heavy loads demand mechanical assistance, not just risky gambles. Always use the proper equipment. A truck of gas canisters drives under a low-hanging wire. One rider tries to lift it clear, but the cable snags a seated passenger. He is violently yanked into the air and flung from the moving vehicle, as his friends watch in horror. A chilling reminder that riding unsecured in an open cargo bed puts you at the mercy of unseen hazards. In a deep excavation pit, workers are oblivious to the danger above. Without warning, the massive earthen wall gives way. A tidal wave of soil and debris engulfs the area, forcing a desperate scramble for safety as the world collapses around them. Never trust an unsupported trench. Proper shoring is non-negotiable. A routine boom adjustment on a construction site. A worker moves beside the crane's base, oblivious. Without warning, the outriggers fail. The colossal machine tips in an instant, its immense superstructure crashing down upon his exact position. A terrifying lesson. Always respect the machinery and stay clear of the potential fall zone. A peaceful suburban driveway. A mother senses danger, screaming for her children to run inside. Mere seconds pass before a multi-ton container plummets from a crane, obliterating the car and the very spot they were standing. A chillingly close call. Always be hyper-aware and keep a safe distance from heavy machinery operations. On the deck, a worker confronts a mooring line under immense strain. In a flash, that stored energy is unleashed. The line snaps back with devastating force, hurling him across the boat. This is the terrifying reality of a snapback zone. A stark warning to always identify and avoid the line of fire when working with ropes and cables under tension. In a loading yard, an operator makes a critical turn with a dangerously high load. The center of gravity shifts catastrophically. The machine lurches, tipping over in a violent crash of metal on concrete, pinning the driver under the roll cage. A life-altering moment. Always keep your load low to the ground when traveling to maintain stability and prevent tip-overs. Beside a collapsed freight elevator, a worker calmly walks out from the wreckage. He's oblivious to the immediate peril he's in. Tons of unstable rubble and twisted metal could shift and come crashing down at any second. This is a chilling reminder. Never enter a structurally compromised area until it has been declared safe by a professional. In a yard filled with metal giants, a worker makes a critical error, pushing a multi-ton coil by hand. In a terrifying instant, its center of gravity shifts. The coil crashes down, pinning him beneath its crushing force. A horrifying outcome that underscores a vital rule. Always secure and use proper machinery for heavy loads.